Greetings and welcome back to yet another episode of the Daily Run, and today we're playing as Blue Baby. So first things first, you might notice that the yesterday's daily is not uploaded, and that is because I came home at midnight, which is much later than usual, and I tried to record the daily, and what I usually do as I just record the footage and then commentate over it the next day, and then I upload it with a little bit of a delay, and that's what I thought was gonna happen, but as I played through the daily, it actually turned out very poor, because I was obviously exhausted. I just made a lot of mistakes, I made a lot of blunders that didn't really turn out for the best, and I really felt like I shouldn't upload it because of how bad it was. Because these dailies to me mean more as a documentation of how well I do, maybe to learn something from them, and I always hope that there's one little tidbit of information in it that will make your game just a little bit better. So it's not more as an entertainment series, it's more of a maybe I guess educational series, but not really in that sense as well, because this is not like a full blown out tutorial. This is more like strategy talk and maybe me just telling my feelings about particular subjects and try to express the best I can. And when I feel like I have a daily that doesn't really fit all of those criteria, I just didn't feel like uploading it, which was yesterday's daily. And that's because obviously I played very badly, I didn't feel like there was a lot of good play there, and at the same time the daily was so maybe one-dimensional that I just felt like I had nothing to talk about. And I hope that you understand why I didn't upload it. Maybe just as a fun fact, what happened is I had the 9 lives item and I died 8 times against the same boss. So basically I went in, I died, I respawned, went in, died, and that happened 8 times. Which was a bit unfortunate to say the least, and I guess that would be fun to see, but that was maybe the highlight of that particular run. But overall, it was more of me just going through and trying to do my best. And somehow I even managed to miss boss rush. And because it was only a daily to the mom's foot, obviously there's a lot of variance included, meaning a lot of people had a good daily. They just managed to get a much higher score than I did. And that overall just made me feel like maybe yesterday's daily wasn't the best to upload. But I did decide to upload this one, obviously, because it's the next day and this is the next daily, and hopefully this one is going to go a bit better. And thankfully, so far, it's actually much more interesting than yesterday's one. We had an interesting decision in the first item room, and that was, do we pick up Tech 2 or do we don't? And I would like to talk about Tech 2 a bit, because I think it's quite a controversial item. So a lot of people don't really like it, because as soon as you pick it up, your damage gets reduced, and you do get this awesome laser that you shoot. When you think about it, it's actually the original soy milk, because what it does, it gives you a much higher fire rate via the laser, but it reduces your damage quite significantly, I think by 35%. Obviously that's a lot of damage reduction, so what do you get for that? Well, you get this laser, which like I said, looks cool, and besides that, it gives you unlimited range, which can be useful against in certain situations, especially because there are a lot of large rooms, especially since Afterbirth came out. And it also gives you a penetrative shot. It doesn't only give you a penetrative shot in the 4 cardinal directions, because the laser is very straight, and obviously shooting in only 4 cardinal directions can make it for a bit of a hassle, or maybe it's a bit hard to kill certain enemies, just because of how this game works. It's much easier if you angle your shots, which obviously you can do with this particular item. So when that happens, it can be quite annoying, but you still do get penetrative shots, and penetrative shots are obviously one of the best effects you can hope for, because they essentially quadruple or maybe multiply your damage based off how many enemies you can hit, and just because there are a lot of enemies in any particular room, you can actually kill quite a few of them at once. But like I said, people don't really like it. Even if you do get those benefits, people think that getting that severe damage reduction just isn't worth it. And in some situations I would say they're right, but in this particular one I was feeling like maybe we should pick it up. I'm more in the camp that sometimes it could be a good item and sometimes it couldn't be a good item. Obviously it's a good item whenever you have any status effects that you can apply. It also works really well with Lump of Coal, because Lump of Coal is just a base damage add-on on the technology beam, which means that it doesn't get reduced by 35%, and even if it did, because of the fact that you shoot so fast, it really still adds quite a bit of significant damage to your tiers. So for that point, there are some good synergies, maybe not good synergies, but there are some synergies that you can use with technology too, and that's why I decided to take it. And like I said, I think every item in the game has some good uses and some bad uses, meaning that in certain situations it's going to be really, really bad, and in some situations it's going to be really, really good. And I was hoping that this was one of them. And thankfully we even managed to get the Tech 0.5 item, which kind of completed my lust for the technology tiers, because I really feel like they're quite rare and you don't really come up that often. and pick them up. And even if you do, there's just not maybe a lot of things going on. Like I said, with technology too, you usually just skip it, and the fact that we can skip it, or pick it up and still use it somewhat effectively is a nice game changer, which usually doesn't happen. So in this particular situation, what happened, I entered boss rush. Obviously the fact that we have 2 technology tiers and that we have unlimited range is quite nice, and I decided to take a random pill. And it was telepills, and it teleported us out of the boss rush, which I think is still more of a consequence that yesterday's daily was bad, and I just woke up again quite tired because my biorhythm got messed up. And you usually, or not usually, you never take random pills in boss rush, and usually it doesn't really end up costing you anything because the random pill won't be telepills just because of there's so many pills that aren't telepills. But sometimes it will be a telepills, and it will teleport you out of the boss rush, which means you can't complete it, and you'll end up losing 4,500 points, which is a bummer because I think that would put us in a very good spot. We're still in the top 150, which is quite ridiculous when you think about it, because that means that there's only about 120 people which did manage to get to boss rush. I didn't really feel that this run was that particularly bad, and maybe the fact that we have 99 bombs at the end helped quite significantly. We did get damaged a bit, but overall I still think that this was a very good run, I would say, but not even that good, and I don't really know how they turned out. But we did manage to finish it in a somewhat decent place, and I'm glad about that. I know that maybe this one felt a bit rushed just because of how short it was, but I hope that there was some tidbits of information that it was in there. And if you didn't take anything from this video, is that you should never use random pills in boss rush, because sometimes it can be telepills, and that can really screw you over. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.